partner, Clark Kellogg, bringing you the 2K Sports NCAA Selection Show. We're all set to show you the seedings and pairings, so get out your bracket sheet, get those pencils ready. Here are the basics. Of the 65 available tournament bids, 31 are automatically given to conference champions. The tournament committee hands out the remaining 34 bids on an at-large basis. An opening round game will take place on Tuesday night to narrow the field to 64 teams. But before we unveil the brackets for this season, here's a look at the final top 25 media poll of the season. There's certainly one big shift that we'll be talking about. We have a new team in the top 25 this week. The Xavier Musketeers are back in the poll as the number 23 team. The media rankings are what everyone's been following for the last 4 months. But in just a minute, the selection committee's opinion is going to be the only one that matters. It's time to talk about the topic that has a lot of players and coaches holding their breath right now, the NCAA tournament bubble. These are the 10 teams that aren't worried as much about where they'll be playing as if they'll be playing. Clark, who jumps out at you there?
Ohio isn't among the very strongest of the non-power conference teams, but they're pretty close. I'm sure they were hoping for a better showing at their conference tournament. Now it's sit and wait time.
You got that right. Who else might be in the same position?
Kansas State impressed me this year, but there were occasions when they seemed to lose focus for a game or two at a time, and those setbacks could be what keeps them out of the tournament.
I'm sure it's been a long week for those teams, but the wait's almost over. The NCAA Selection Committee has finished its meeting, and we're ready to unveil the top 4 seeds in this year's tournament. The USC Trojans are the top overall seed, and they will play in the East Regional. On to the second number 1 seed, who will play in the South Regional. The Penn State Nittany Lions are seeking their 6th NCAA championship in school history. The Mean Green of North Texas are our 3rd number 1 seed, and they'll play in the Midwest Regional. They're back in the tournament again, and no doubt they'll be feeding off the experience of last year's appearance as they try to get to the Final Four this year. And finally, our 4th number 1 seed will play in the West Regional. The Louisville Cardinals are in the tournament field as a number 1 seed for the first time in the history of their program. Now, here's how the brackets shape up based on where the number 1 seeds have been assigned. In one national semifinal game, the winner of the East Regional will play the winner of the South Regional. In the other semifinal game, the winner of the Midwest Regional will play the winner of the West Regional. Those games will be played on Saturday, April 6th. Then it'll be on to the national championship game on Monday night. Anything shocking to you about those picks?
I don't think I'm alone in my surprise with these picks. Whenever you reach this far down the poll for the top seed, you're guaranteed to have some second guesses coming your way.
So, with the number 1 seeds out of the way, it's finally time to tackle the rest of the brackets. First up, we take a look at the East Regional. The USC Trojans are the top seed, finishing at 26-0. They won both the regular season and conference tournament titles in the Pac-10. They will take on the winner of the opening round play-in game between Jackson State with 15 wins and Maine from the America East Conference. And now, the number 8 seed, the St. Louis Billikens, come into the tournament 5th in their conference during the regular season and were losers in their first game at their conference tournament. They're going to play the number 9 seed, the UC Riverside Highlanders, who finished 2nd in their conference tournament, finishing at 22-8. Virginia Commonwealth comes in as the number 5 seed, finishing at 24-6. And they will take on the 12th seed from the Big 12, the Oklahoma State Cowboys, with 19 wins. Tennessee enters the field as the number 4 seed from the SEC. This marks their 25th appearance in the NCAA tournament in the history of their school. They'll be getting ready to face the number 13 seed. The Rider Broncs finished the season with 21 wins.
The Tennessee Volunteers are going to provide serious matchup problems to any team that doesn't have depth and defensive ability at both guard spots. They have outstanding backcourt play at both ends of the court. It's the main reason they've made it this far. They're going to have to maintain that form if they want to do some damage in this tournament.
The Washington State Cougars are in as the number 6 seed. They'll be taking on the number 11 seed, the Ohio State Buckeyes, with 19 wins. Texas Tech comes in as the number 3 seed, finishing at 23-7. Cal State Northridge comes in to face them at number 14 with 17 wins in the tournament championship of the Big West. Our number 7 seed is from the Big East. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame are on a hot hot streak, having just won their conference tournament championship. They are going to play the number 10 seed, the Temple Owls, who were semifinalists in their conference tournament, finishing at 22-10. Next up is the number 2 seed, the Texas Pan American Broncs, have established themselves as one of the best teams from the independent ranks. They'll be going up against the number 15 seed, the Nevada Wolfpack, with 15 wins. This is their 9th appearance in the NCAA tournament in team history. This bracket has the potential to give us a sensational matchup in the regional final if everything goes according to form and the top 2 seeds can survive the early round. Next up, we'll take a look at the South Regional. The Penn State Nittany Lions are the top seed, finishing at 25-0. They won both the regular season and conference tournament titles in the Big Ten. They'll take on the Liberty Flames, the number 16 ranked team. This is their 6th appearance ever in the NCAA tournament. Charlotte comes in as the number 8 seed, finishing at 22-11. Memphis comes in to face them at number 9 with 18 wins and a chance to make believers out of any doubters they might have. NC State enters the field as the number 5 seed from the ACC. This will be their 29th appearance in the NCAA tournament in the history of their school. They'll be getting ready to face the number 12 seed, the UCF Golden Knights. Finished the season with 18 wins.
The North Carolina State Wolfpack could be a great pick in this competition. There are a lot of things I like about this team. They don't back down from anybody, and they've shown that throughout the year with some real quality wins. You've got to be tough if you're going to have a chance in the NCAA tournament, physically and mentally, and there's no question these guys are tough.
Georgetown comes in as the number 4 seed, finishing at 20-9. And they'll take on the 13th seed, the Louisiana Commodore, with 20 wins. And now the number 6 seed, the Oregon Ducks, come into the tournament on the strength of an 8th place finish in their conference regular season and were quarterfinalists in their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 11 seed, finishing at 20-15. The Syracuse Orange are in as the number 3 seed. They'll be taking on the number 14 seed, the American Eagles, with 20 wins. Next up is the number 7 seed, Loyola Marymount Lions, are the conference tournament champions from the West Coast Conference. They'll be going up against the number 10 seed, the St. Joseph's Hawks, with 19 wins. They return once more to the very familiar surroundings of the NCAA tournament. Our number 2 seed is from the Mountain West Conference. The San Diego State Aztecs had a tremendous year that included a regular season championship. They're going to play the number 15 seed, the Davidson Wildcats, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 19-12. Looking into the future a little bit, this bracket looks poised for a titanic matchup in the regional final. If the top 2 seeds can take care of business in the first 3 rounds, we have the possibility of a classic Elite 8 meeting. On to our 3rd bracket of the day. Let's take a look at the Midwest Regional. The Mean Green of North Texas are the top seed, finishing at 26-0. They won both the regular season and conference tournament titles in the Sun Belt Conference. They'll take on the Wagner Seahawks, the number 16 ranked team. This is their 3rd appearance in the NCAA tournament in the history of their school. Our number 8 seed is from the Missouri Valley Conference. The Missouri State Bears are on a hot streak, having just won their conference tournament championship. They're going to play the number 9 seed, the Central Michigan Chippewas, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 21-9. The Arizona Wildcats are in as the number 5 seed. They'll be taking on the number 12 seed, the Cleveland State Vikings, with 19 wins. Yale enters the field as the number 4 seed from the Ivy League. This will be their 5th appearance all time in the NCAA tournament. They'll be getting ready to face the number 13 seed, the Utah Utes. Finished the season with 17 wins.
The Yale Bulldogs are a team that is just so powerful and strong up front. I would put their front court up against just about any other teams in the nation right now. It's always good to have strong guard play, but if you ask most coaches, I guarantee you they take the good big man over the good little man most times. Their interior play should serve them very well in this competition.
Michigan State comes in as the number 6 seed, finishing at 20-11. And they take on the 11th seed from the Big 12, the Kansas State Wildcats, with 19 wins. And now the number 3 seed, the Texas El Paso Miners, come into the tournament first in their conference during the regular season and were losers in their first game at their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 14 seed, the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 20-8. Next up is the number 7 seed. The Boston College Eagles have established themselves as one of the best teams from the ACC. They'll be going up against the number 10 seed, the Brigham Young Cougars, with 20 wins. They return once more to the very familiar surroundings of the NCAA tournament. Maryland comes in as the number 2 seed, finishing at 21-8. Belmont comes in to face them at number 15 with 19 wins in the tournament championship of the Atlantic Sun Conference. Some of the lower seeds in this bracket have the ability to not only compete with the high seeds, but win a few games. The potential for a Cinderella or two in this bracket is definitely there. And finally, let's have a look at the West Regional. The Louisville Cardinals are the top seed, finishing at 27-9. They were winners of the regular season championship in the Big East. They'll take on the Lumberjacks of Stephen F. Austin, the number 16 ranked team. This marks their first appearance in the NCAA tournament in school history. Next up is the number 8 seed. The Akron Zips have established themselves as one of the best teams from the MAC. They'll be going up against the number 9 seed, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. With 19 wins, they return once more to the very familiar surroundings of the NCAA tournament. Pepperdine comes in as the number 5 seed, finishing at 23-9. And they will take on the 12th seed from the SEC, the Florida Gators, with 16 wins. Duke comes in as the number 4 seed, finishing at 19-9. North Carolina comes in to face them at number 13 with 17 wins in the tournament championship of the ACC. Our number 6 seed is from the A-10 Conference. The Xavier Musketeers are on a hot streak, having just won their conference tournament championship. They are going to play the number 11 seed, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, who were 4th in their conference, finishing at 19-12. The Indiana Hoosiers are in as the number 3 seed. They'll be taking on the number 14 seed, the Tennessee State Tigers, with 22 wins. And now the number 7 seed, the Southern Illinois Saluki, come into the tournament on the strength of a 3rd-place finish in their conference regular season and were semifinalists in their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 10 seed, the Utah State Aggies, who were semifinalists in their conference tournament, finishing at 20-9. Georgia Tech enters the field as the number 2 seed from the ACC. This is their 27th appearance in the NCAA tournament in the history of their school. They'll be getting ready to face the number 15 seed, the South Carolina State Bulldogs. Finished the season with 19 wins.
The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets suffered a big upset in their conference tournament, but they've got to leave that behind them. Sometimes getting a loss like that out of the way before the NCAA tournament can actually help you. It can relieve some pressure and help the players get their focus back.
It's the first question every selection Sunday. Which is the toughest bracket? Well, this bracket looks to me like it wins that prize this year. Not only are the top seeds strong, the lower seeds can be dangerous as well. Clark, give us your take on the tournament's top 16 seeds.
There are no real off-the-wall picks that jump out at me. These 16 teams are all pretty deserving. Let's give the committee some props this year. Louisville
is the least impressive to me of all the number 1. I'm not saying that I think they are pushovers. I just think that they have the best chance of being knocked out before the Final Four.
Now, let's see how the conference representation fares. The ACC gets 7 teams. The Big Ten with 5 out of the Big East. The A-10 gets 5 teams.
What a down year for the non-power conferences. We're used to seeing at least one of those conferences compete on the level of the power conferences. But not this year.
And let's not forget the teams out of the Big West. For a small conference, they competed at a very high level this year. Those teams could be the place to look if you're trying to find a Cinderella story in the tournament.
I'm surprised there were so few bids for the teams in the SEC. It was an especially disappointing year for that conference. Usually you can count on a few of the nation's elite teams coming out of there. But this was a season where very few of those teams could maintain any type of positive momentum.
Let's come back to the bubble teams that we mentioned earlier in the show and see which of the teams were able to get into the tournament.
Florida
closed out its season in top form and is very confident heading into the tournament. If they can sustain this top level of play, expect them to do some real damage.
While they start prepping for their first round games, the 5 teams on the other side of the page will be full-time students again.
Oregon State
did not have a strong finish to the season, and it cost them an NCAA tournament bid. That just goes to show you how much weight the committee places on how you're playing at the end of the season.
Thanks, Clark. I'm sure that this year will provide us with all the thrills and excitement that we've come to expect from the tournament.
Greg, it's going to be a fantastic tournament. We got an outstanding field and a lot of sensational players. I guarantee there are some memorable moments soon to come.
For my partner Clark Kellogg and for all of us here in the 2K Sports Studios, I'm Greg Gumbel. Thanks for joining us on the NCAA Selection Show, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. Enjoy all the excitement of the NCAA tournament.